beautiful woman is gunned down in a heartless killing.
My baby died by herself in a car, in the cold, alone.
She's a young lady on the verge of a great life, but we'll never know now.
Very sad scene indeed.
Seeking the killer, police uncover no shortage of suspects.
There were stories of infidelity, of a violent, nasty, hateful love triangle going both ways.
It was a situation that was just ready to explode.
But is this star-crossed romance the prelude to an even deadlier rivalry?
This was a gangland version of Romeo and Juliet.
She's cheating with the opposition.
I guess he loved her to death.
As a gang member, you don't call the police. You handle your business.
He was on the run from ultimately the same people that had killed her.
January 31st, 2014, Richmond, Virginia. It's a blisteringly cold night for officers on patrol in the city's rough and tumble South Side.
With any large metropolitan area like the city of Richmond, there are certain locations that are considered pockets of crime.
In 2014, about 80% of the homicides were just in South Side of Richmond alone.
At 1:30 a.m., a Richmond patrol officer receives a call from dispatch about a possible shooting in the area.
70 Alpha. 70 Alpha, go ahead.
There's a young lady in a car, and she might have been shot.
Temple.
Emergency Communications dispatches Richmond Police Unit to the scene, the 2200 block of Mandalay Drive, which is in South Richmond.
The caller is apartment resident Dormita Moore.
Miss Moore is hysterical. She knows the young lady in the vehicle. She points to her car.
She's in there.
Car's on, it's backed into a parking spot.
Okay, stay right here.
Both of the doors were shut. The windows were fogged up.
The officer goes up to the car and opens up the passenger side door. There's a young lady sitting in the front passenger seat, slumped over.
The victim is bleeding from gunshot wounds to her face, in her hand and into her chest.
One look, and the officer knows it's too late.
70 Alpha, we need major crimes, crime lab, and other officers out here for crime scene support.
He could tell based on the amount of blood.
She died in that car, alone on a cold night.
Miss Moore identifies the victim as 19-year-old Khadijah Stewart. As police investigate this young woman's tragic death, they'll uncover a labyrinth of love triangles and a crime of passion that have all the makings of a Shakespearean tragedy.
This web of individuals with relationships that cross over and impact each other in a way that's horrific.
Khadijah Stewart was born on March 9, 1994, into a modest but caring family.
She grew up the daughter of a single mother. They had a loving relationship, and they were quite close.
Khadijah was always the perfect mix of sugar and spice.
She was always smiling, but if she didn't like you, she would let you know she always thought for herself.
At age 13, she got her first taste of love when she met a 14-year-old charmer named Tommy Coleman.
Tommy and Khadijah actually went to middle school together. He's light-skinned, handsome, fun kid.
Even though they were young, they considered themselves serious girlfriend and boyfriend and truly in love.
But just before his 15th birthday, the South Side streets got their claws into Tommy, and he and Khadijah's relationship was cut short.
Tommy had been convicted as a juvenile of robbery and use of a firearm. He was sentenced to juvenile life.
And while he was gone, they lost contact, didn't stay in touch.
In high school, Khadijah met another good-looking bad boy, Lionel Carter.
6'7", broad shoulders. He looks like a basketball player.
4 years her senior, Khadijah was smitten with his towering frame and reputation as a rebel.
He didn't follow the rules. He followed his own way.
Despite his rough edges, Lionel treated Khadijah and her family with nothing but love and respect.
He was welcomed into their home.
I knew he was a little bit older than her, but it didn't really bother me.
They quickly became girlfriend, boyfriend.
Lionel made sure the world knew it.
I wasn't gonna show you. I was gonna make it a surprise, but...
Ooh, Lionel! When he was about 16, he had a tattoo from like here to here in big bold letters that said Khadijah. She was the girl, and they both loved each other.
Though the more the couple saw of each other, the more Lionel's rebellious streak wore off on Khadijah.
She got a little off track in high school.
She wasn't focused on her studies, and she was hanging out more and more with Lionel and his friends. Lionel's friends were known to be gang members.
Khadijah's mother wanted to make sure she didn't go down the same bad road that so many other kids in the neighborhood had traveled. She thought it was best that they move out of South Richmond.
So in 2009, Khadijah's family relocated to the quiet community of Chesterfield County, 15 miles away.
It's a different makeup than the city of Richmond. You have a higher income status. The schools are highly accredited.
Khadijah missed her friends, she missed seeing Lionel every day. But eventually she began to enjoy life in Chesterfield.
When we got to Chesterfield, she got back, focused on school. It made a big difference in her. She graduated with an advanced diploma in high school.
She valued hard work. She did not want to rely on anyone. She wanted to earn money herself.
Khadijah found a job with a local government contractor and was making very good money for someone so young.
But even though Khadijah was thriving in Chesterfield, she never lost touch with Lionel.
They always kept in touch. They always wrote. She always went to see him.
As for Lionel, without Khadijah by his side, he was slipping deeper and deeper into a life of crime.
Lionel wasn't someone that had a troubling juvenile history, but once he reached that point of adulthood, he did find himself having contacts with the criminal justice system.
Every time Lionel ended up in jail, Khadijah came to visit. And every time he was released, a passionate reunion followed.
They couldn't keep their hands off each other.
You got something for me? What do you mean you got something for me?
Come back. Come back here. Give me a kiss.
Khadijah and Lionel just maintained a strong emotional and sexual bond.
Not that the relationship didn't have its ups and downs.
They will break up, and then 2 or 3 days later, it'll be just like none of that even happened. Like, they back together.
But as police roll out the crime scene tape on that bitter January night in 2014, it seems Khadijah and Lionel's hot and cold romance has been permanently put on ice.
This horrific act of violence had taken this young woman's life.
But Khadijah's murder is just the beginning of the carnage. Soon, the streets of South Richmond will become a full-on war zone as detectives discover there is more to this case than meets the eye.
It's a lot of shooting going on, a lot of gang warfare.
They just don't go after you. They'll go after your family and your loved ones.
In Richmond, Virginia, Khadijah Stewart and Lionel Carter shared an intense and sometimes volatile romance.
You couldn't keep them apart.
They became more on again, off again, but I believe that they had frequent contact and that they were still very involved in each other's lives.
They couldn't live with each other, but they also couldn't live without each other.
But this young couple seems to have been separated forever. When patrol officers discover Khadijah shot and killed in a parked car on Richmond's south side.
She had multiple wounds to her head. She had a through-and-through wound to her hand that is suggestive of a defensive wound.
Detectives' next step is to begin questioning eyewitness Dormita Moore, who made the initial 911 call.
Detectives wanted to know how she discovered that Khadijah was dead. She told them that her son informed her of this. In and of itself, that wasn't suspicious until it was determined who her son was.
Yes, can you tell me your son's name?
It's Lionel Carter.
She said they were an off and on relationship that was going on for years.
Officer?
Yes, sir.
Can you ring Lionel Carter's name?
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. Take me through what happened earlier this evening.
Well,
She said Lionel had been over at her house. He had told her that he was going to take the keys to her car.
He and Khadijah were in an off mode of their on again, off again relationship. He had gone to the car to listen to some of their music and to reminisce about their relationship. This was about midnight. And at 1:30, he came into the house to wake her up.
What?
And from that point, he takes off. She didn't know where he went.
Hey, wait a minute, wait!
You have reason to hurt her?
No, he loved her.
Well, then why do you run?
He was very scared that they were going to shoot him too.
Her son was on the run from ultimately the same people that had killed Khadijah. She lived in a location where there was lots of hostility between rival gang members, and she said the gang members were after him.
Detectives dispatch patrol officers in hopes of finding Lionel Carter alive.
He had been the last person to be with Khadijah before her murder and the first person to find her dead. So certainly that is the #1 person you want to talk to.
Meanwhile, CSIs process the scene for evidence.
There was casings that were found on the outside of the vehicle.
We had multiple cartridge casings that were located in the floorboard of the driver's side,
which were all .40 caliber. She was shot with a semi-automatic .40 caliber weapon.
While Khadijah's bullet-riddled body is hauled off to the coroner, detectives dig into Lionel Carter's background.
What do you find out?
A couple of misdemeanors early on. This guy's a Southside kid. A little bit of gang affiliation, maybe.
He had some gang affiliation with the Blackwell Bottom Boys.
The Blackwell Bottom Boys is not as widely known as perhaps the Crips or the Bloods, but they have presented problems in the city of Richmond.
With a gang connection, investigators are looking at the possibility that Lionel may be running for his life or may already be dead.
In speaking with area residents and by examining case files, detectives uncover a stunning fact.
This was not the first time that one of Lionel's girlfriends was the victim of a shooting.
There was one break between Lionel and Khadijah where Lionel was dating a young lady by the name of Pre. Pre was a victim of a drive-by, which she was shot.
Someone was trying to shoot Lionel, but they shot her because she was in the car.
Like Lionel's previous girlfriend, Pre, could Khadijah have been an innocent victim in an attack against Lionel? The answer will lead detectives to a vengeful killer with an alarming appetite for payback.
This guy is known for being someone that will be violent. He doesn't want to be tracked by the authorities. He just wants revenge.
According to a 2015 report by the National Gang Center, gang violence in the United States has been on the rise since 2010. Overall, there has been an 8% increase in the number of criminal organizations identified as street gangs, and a 23% increase in gang-related homicides. Experts believe that this increase is due in part to larger gangs that have splintered into smaller warring factions. Early February 2014, Richmond detectives are investigating the murder of 19-year-old Khadijah Stewart, who was shot while sitting inside a parked car belonging to her on-and-off boyfriend, Lionel Carter's mother.
She was shot multiple times, once in the chest, at least once in the head.
Though they haven't found the murder weapon, signs indicate Khadijah could be the victim of a gang-related slaying.
It's very similar to other crimes where the gang is trying to send a loud, clear message by not just shooting a person one time, but shooting them a number of times.
Was Lionel the only intended target, or was Khadijah killed in order to send a message to Lionel due to his ties to the Blackwell Bottom boys.
Lionel told his mother Khadijah had been shot, but then he disappeared. Lionel's mother believes he is on the run from the same people who killed Khadijah.
In order to pinpoint Lionel's whereabouts, detectives phone in a request for a warrant that allows them to track his cell phone. As they wait for a judge to process the request, a young woman arrives at the crime scene.
Ma'am, can you tell me who you are?
She did tell me that she was the girlfriend of Lionel's named Callie.
She said Lionel's mother called her and told her about the shooting.
I heard that Lionel wasn't a very faithful boyfriend. What do you know about that?
She did tell me earlier that night they kind of got into a little argument, and it was over Khadijah. He was trying to get back with Khadijah. Callie kind of found out about that. Lionel posted some photos of him and Khadijah on his Instagram or Facebook page.
Detectives wonder, if this crime isn't gang-related, then perhaps it's a crime of passion.
Jealousy is a terrible thing. When you have that, you can be kind of capable of anything.
This young lady got an issue with Khadijah, and she was in the area at the time. Callie possibly could be a potential suspect.
Seems like you had a good reason to want her gone.
You're trying to say I had something to do with this? You are crazy.
What were you doing at 1:30 this morning?
I was at my aunt's house.
Do you know where Mr. Carter is now?
Callie pretty much says that she didn't know where he was at.
As detectives wrap up the interview, officers are dispatched to Callie's aunt's house to verify her alibi.
We're finished with you, but don't go far. Stay in the Richmond city limits in case we need to talk to you again.
Sure.
I got to consider the fact that I got a girlfriend of Lionel's that possibly could have been connected to Khadijah's death.
As day breaks, there's still no sign of Lionel, and the list of potential suspects seems to be growing. On top of that, investigators now face the grim task of breaking the terrible news of Khadijah's death to her family.
Miss Dorsey, there's no easy way to say this. We found Khadijah shot to death last night.
It's like I got hit by a truck. He just said it to me once, but I hate the detective's voice telling me that over and over. Like, I just can't get that out of my head over and over and over like a song.
Khadijah's family tells detectives Khadijah had been staying with a girlfriend the night she died.
The last time I saw my babe, it was Wednesday, the 29th, and I never saw her again.
Is there anyone who wants to harm your daughter?
No! Nobody would want to hurt my baby.
Could it possibly have been Lionel Carter?
He did have some gang ties, and I know some people wanted to hurt him.
She mentions Lionel's gang connections and Lionel's criminal record. And this furthers the notion that this could indeed have been a gang-connected murder.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Once again, thank you for your time.
With Lionel still MIA and the warrant on his cell phone still being processed, detectives head to the station to pore over the evidence. They turn first to Khadijah's cell phone.
Her phone was still on her, so we got the text messages and phone calls that she was receiving. What we're finding out is that she was trying to make a go at this relationship with a guy who came into her life within the past few weeks by the name of Tommy.
This is the same Tommy who was Khadijah's first love in middle school, but got in trouble and got sent away.
Tommy had just been released from Department of Corrections after serving juvenile life for a couple of robberies and use of a firearm.
Tommy had discovered that Lionel and Khadijah had had sexual relations, and Tommy was very upset.
There were text messages exchanged between she and Tommy. She's trying to explain her contact with Lionel, and Tommy is really having none of it. And so certainly Tommy was somebody that we wanted to talk to.
Within hours, detectives have located Tommy Coleman and hauled him down to the station for questioning.
He knew about Khadijah passing. Once I talked to him, he cooperated.
Tommy tells police that he's been smitten with Khadijah for over 6 years.
She was my first love. I just knew when I came home we were gonna be together.
Oh my. He just got out of incarceration 20 days ago. and immediately sought out Khadijah to reconnect with her.
She just was like, oh my God, you know, Tommy, when did you get out? And just was really excited to see him.
Some sparks flew, and they started spending a lot of time together.
You gotta let people know you're home. Let's take a picture.
Okay.
She has started to post pictures of her and Tommy, you know, on her Instagram.
Quickly, their relationship was able to almost pick up where it left off many years ago, and they were able to rekindle a romance.
Did she ever mention her ex-boyfriend, Lionel Carter?
Yeah, she mentioned that fool. She said she's gonna break up with him.
But Tommy also tells detectives that just one day before Khadijah's murder, he got an unwelcome call from Lionel Carter.
Hello?
Lionel actually called Tommy.
Who's this?
It glowed like, hey, you know, I'm with Khadijah. We've been together all day.
You wasting your time. Why are you still here? Nobody told you.
Man, listen here. Like I said, she been my girl since middle school. I ain't going nowhere, bruh.
Now, like any man, once Tommy found that out, he was upset about that. And him and Khadijah, you know, got into a verbal argument about that.
I told her it's either him or me. She had to choose. So I left.
So you're trying to tell us that a tough guy like you just walked away?
Man, listen. I didn't hurt that girl. I love Khadijah.
He says Khadijah was one of the only things that he had before he went into jail and then coming out.
Is there anyone who can account for your whereabouts last night?
He was at the studio all night.
Tommy said he was watching some friends record an album in a local studio.
Until they can confirm Tommy's alibi, detectives have no concrete evidence on which to hold him and have no choice but to let him go.
We'll be in contact.
Police are faced with a number of possibilities. The possibility that it could be purely gang-related, the possibility that Lionel's girlfriend, Callie, targeted Khadijah, or the possibility that Khadijah's boyfriend, Tommy, killed her due to jealousy. Lionel was the last person to see Khadijah alive, which also makes him a suspect.
At this point, I'm trying to find out exactly where everyone fits into the investigation.
As detectives begin to look into Tommy's alibi, they continue to put out feelers for Lionel. Investigators are hopeful that the judge's warrant to ping Lionel's cell phone will help pinpoint his location. But even with the warrant in hand, police come up empty.
He had stopped using his cell phone. We were unable to determine a location.
The lack of activity on Lionel's cell phone makes investigators worry that if this case is indeed gang-related, then perhaps whoever killed Khadijah has found Lionel and finished what they started.
If someone was after Lionel, was Lionel even alive?
During the bitter winter of 2014, Richmond, Virginia homicide detectives are struggling to solve the mysterious murder of Khadijah Stewart. The suspects are myriad: Khadijah's ex-boyfriend, Lionel Carter, Lionel's jealous current girlfriend, Callie Bennett, and Khadijah's childhood sweetheart turned new beau, Tommy Coleman. But with repeated calls to Lionel's cell phone going unanswered, investigators worry Lionel may also be a victim.
There's a possibility that Khadijah's murder was not love-related at all, but related to gang violence. Basically, anything is still possible at this point.
Lionel Carter's current girlfriend, Callie, asserts that she was with her aunt at the time of the murder.
Detective Coates followed up on her particular alibi and was able to corroborate it through multiple witnesses.
As for Khadijah's new boyfriend, Tommy Coleman, he claims he was at a local recording studio when Khadijah was shot.
They did talk and text on the phone. They were supposed to see each other.
But as detectives pore over Tommy's records back at the station, they soon uncover an alarming piece of information that makes them skeptical of his alibi.
Tommy is involved with the Uptown gang.
Uptown is a huge rival of the Blackwell Bottom Boys gang, the gang that Lionel is affiliated with.
Could Tommy and his fellow members of the Uptown gang have put a hit out on Lionel? A hit that caught Khadijah in the crosshairs.
He has this gang issue with Lionel. They both are after the same woman.
Lionel's mother indicated that someone might be after him, and that someone might be Tommy.
However, after detectives finished tracing Tommy's movements on the night of the crime, his recording studio alibi seems to hold up.
I talked to individuals who verified that he was with them. I got his cell phone records, his tower information, puts him about approximately 6-7 miles away from the scene of the murder. So pretty much alibied Tommy out of being a suspect.
Although it's apparent Tommy didn't pull the trigger that killed Khadijah, investigators haven't ruled out the possibility that another member of the Uptown gang very well could have.
Often happens when you go against a gang, bad things happen, and certainly nothing worse could have happened than what happened that night.
Investigators hope to find witnesses in the area who can provide them with more insight into the Uptown gang.
Detectives start canvassing the neighborhood.
No one in the neighborhood claims to know anything, an all too common response in this rough and tumble community.
It is very difficult to convince witnesses who have very important pieces of information to come forward because they fear for their safety.
After exhausting the bulk of their leads, detectives begin to lose hope.
The trail is going cold.
But suddenly, there's a break in the case. Although Lionel's cell phone's gone silent, police discover he's been active on social media.
He just made 2 really huge, long posts about, his undying love for her and how hurt he is.
Postings that were along the lines of, "I love you, Khadijah. My heart is broken now that you are gone."
Now that it's apparent that Lionel is alive, the investigation turns towards him.
But even though they're now following Lionel's emotional posts on social media, detectives are no closer to pinpointing his exact whereabouts.
You're posting your pledge of how much you love this young lady, but you're the last person to see her. I would think if you didn't do it, you would want to try to at least help with the investigation, but he never reaches out.
As patrol officers continue the search for Lionel, detectives turn back to Khadijah's friends and family, hoping to learn more about her relationship with him.
Tell me about Lionel and Khadijah's relationship.
For the most part, Khadijah and Lionel had a good relationship. They had a lot of fun together. But as time went on, things started kind of going downhill.
It started a lot of drama, a lot of fighting. They would have fun, but it was a lot of bad. Just looked like the bad always outweighed the good.
They would break up and get back together, break up again, and the relationship just became somewhat toxic.
Both sides of the family tried to tell them to stay away from each other, that eventually someone's going to get hurt at the way they were going, but they just wouldn't stay away.
Khadijah's family claims that when she reunited with her old flame, Tommy Coleman, after his release from jail, the dynamic between her and Lionel seemed to shift.
Tommy was like a direct threat. Her and Tommy had history. He was there before him. Usually he could kind of scare off the other guy, but Tommy just won't scare him, so he couldn't work that angle. So he had to try to figure out a way to break them up.
Lionel was so desperate to maintain control over her that he began to terrorize her.
He slashed her tires and posted naked pictures of her on the internet, doing all kinds of just real crazy stuff.
She was like, "Oh, Mom, he not crazy. He not gonna do nothing to me." I knew something bad was gonna happen.
Hoping for more insight, detectives reach out to the friend Khadijah was staying with on the night in question.
Khadijah's mother said that she was here the night of the murder?
Yeah, she was.
What can you tell me about that night?
I don't really know much about that night, but my mom may know more.
She tells the investigator that they may want to speak with her mother, Barbara. And that's where Barbara makes this huge revelation about a very heated conversation that she hears.
That was a watershed moment for us.
"72 hours after 19-year-old Khadijah Stewart is gunned down in an icy parking lot, Richmond homicide detectives are trying to track down her controlling ex-boyfriend, Lionel Carter.
Lionel takes off on the run. So at this point, I'm looking into everybody who might have anything that possibly could have been connected to Khadijah's death. I come to find out that Khadijah was staying at a friend named Lynn's house that night. Lynn tells us that, well, you probably need to talk to my mother, Barbara.
Barbara tells police that around 11:50 p.m., she overheard a heated phone conversation between Khadijah and Lionel.
Khadijah's cell phone was actually broken, and it would only function in the speaker mode. They were arguing over the status of their relationship.
You are talking crazy right now. Like,
Keep playing with me.
He's very frustrated over the fact that she's seeing Tommy.
Barbara says at one point during the conversation, Lionel seemed to completely lose it.
Stop playing with me.
Lionel?
I'm gonna blow your head off.
She hears Lionel threaten Khadijah about, don't play with me or I'll blow your head off.
And that obviously raised a red flag for Barbara and made her very concerned for Khadijah's welfare.
All right, look, I'll be over there in a second.
Look,
Khadijah,
are you crazy?
Barbara tries to tell Khadijah, don't go.
At that point, Khadijah left the house, and Barbara's one of the last people that we know to have seen her alive.
Just 2 hours later, police discover Khadijah shot to death in Lionel's mother's car.
By the time detectives arrive back at the station, the records from Lionel's phone have arrived.
They corroborate that there was a call between Lionel and Khadijah before she left Barbara's.
At this point, we're like, wow, now it's all piecing together.
Now convinced Lionel Carter is responsible for Khadijah's murder, detectives redouble their efforts to find him.
We start looking into associates of his. We look into family members, anyone who might have contact with them.
Nearly 2 more weeks go by, and still no sign of Lionel. Someone is helping him hide. No one is talking.
Police have no choice but to issue a nationwide be on the lookout for Lionel Carter.
Finally, on February 16th, there's a break in the case. More than 500 miles south in DeKalb County, Georgia, a patrol officer spots a couple hanging out in an area frequented by homeless people.
The officer simply went up to them and tried to identify them.
I noticed y'all being around here before. Do you have any ID on you?
Yes, I do. You doing all right?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Lucky for us, the guy gave his real name as Lionel Carter.
Interestingly enough, his girlfriend, Callie, is with him.
This is the same Callie who was told to stay in Richmond until the case was closed.
Dispatch, I need to check warrants on the subject. Being Lionel Carter.
They ran him to see if he had warrants. They find out that he's wanted.
DeKalb authorities take Lionel into custody, but have no reason to hold Callie.
Callie was allowed to return on her own to Richmond and was not arrested for anything related to this particular incident.
News of the arrest comes as a relief to Khadijah's family, but does little to ease their pain.
I don't even know how to feel about him. I want to say I hate him, but it's like you have to have some type of feeling for somebody to hate him. He's just a monster.
On February 25th, 2014, Lionel Carter is extradited back to Richmond.
We advise him of his rights and try to talk to him. Lionel stays mute, doesn't even give me his name or anything. No response, no answers, no talking. I show him pictures of Khadijah, but he doesn't flinch.
It simply was the defendant exercising his right to remain silent, which he certainly is entitled to, and he exercised it to the 10th degree.
Lionel's refusal to talk to investigators doesn't stop them from throwing the book at him. In December of 2014, a grand jury formally indicts him on 2 charges related to the murder of Khadijah Stewart.
He was charged with first-degree murder and use of a firearm in the commission of first-degree murder.
Although Lionel faces a possible life sentence if convicted, the case against him is far from airtight.
They don't have no evidence. They don't have a gun.
By not having a murder weapon, they weren't able to get DNA off the weapon. They weren't able to get fingerprints off the weapon.
There's no eyewitness.
We had a very circumstantial case.
As the case heads to trial, Lionel's defense team claims they have proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that Lionel Carter had nothing to do with the murder of Khadijah Stewart.
From the time that he shared what happened to me, from the time that I saw the evidence, I knew at that point it was my duty to let the court know that this is an innocent man.
On the first-degree murder, the Commonwealth has to prove that the killing was deliberate, willful, and premeditated. And often that is a very difficult standard to prove. Lionel Carter had a great confidence throughout all of the court proceedings. He was very confident that he was going to go home, and he exuded an air of confidence while he sat at the defense table.
On October 6, 2015, nearly 2 years since the slaying of Khadijah Stewart, the trial of her ex-boyfriend Lionel Carter gets underway in a Richmond, Virginia courtroom.
The tension in the courtroom was extreme, and in fact, the deputies had to keep both families, Khadijah's and Lionel's, separate.
In opening statements, the prosecution portrays Lionel as a vindictive ex, hell-bent on making sure if he couldn't have Khadijah, no one could.
Lionel Carter wanted to control Khadijah Stewart at all cost. And when he could no longer control her, she paid the ultimate price.
Prosecutors pieced together for the jury what they believe transpired the night Khadijah was murdered. At 11:50 p.m., after a heated phone argument, Khadijah agreed to meet Lionel outside his mother's South Side apartment.
She pulls into the parking lot, gets out of her car, and gets into Lionel Carter's car on the passenger side. She pretty much let him know it was over with. Lionel just wouldn't take no for an answer.
You still tripping?
Yeah, I'm tripping.
For what, Lionel?
What you mean for what?
What are you tripping for?
The defendant pulled the gun and immediately shot her. Multiple shots to her head.
According to prosecutors, after shooting Khadijah, Lionel fled the scene and disposed of the gun at an unknown location. Prosecutors also point to the large volume of circumstantial evidence.
Lionel Carter telling his mother that Khadijah had been shot. That puts him last with the victim. The other circumstantial evidence, the fact that he fled.
But the state's most compelling evidence comes from the testimony of Barbara Murray, the mother of Khadijah's friend, Lynn. On the stand, Barbara recalls the phone conversation she overheard the night of the murder, in which Lionel threatened to blow Khadijah's head off.
Barbara was very brave to come forward and to testify. That is not something that is easy for witnesses to do in our community.
No snitching. That's this big thing with this culture. But she just told it how it was, you know. She was Khadijah's voice. She is my baby angel.
Barbara Murray's testimony seems to tilt the case in prosecutors' favor. But when it's the defense's turn, they call a surprise witness, none other than Lionel Carter himself.
I felt that he would need to testify to show the world that he was not involved in the murder of Khadijah.
Lionel claims trouble had been brewing between him and Khadijah's new boyfriend, Tommy Coleman, in the weeks leading up to her murder.
Lionel and Tommy were in opposing criminal factions of the South Side, Uptown and the Bottom.
By virtue of the gangs that they're in, there is a true hatred between the two.
And according to Lionel, when Tommy found out he and Khadijah were still sleeping together, Tommy lost it.
Tommy is threatening to shoot her, to smoke her, to kill her because she has just betrayed him.
Lionel claims Khadijah called him and asked if she could come to his mother's house where he could protect her. Lionel told her yes, but when Khadijah arrived, all hell broke loose.
Lionel Carter gave a story that he was in the vehicle with Khadijah, that a suspicious car began to pull into the apartment complex.
Khadijah seems to recognize this vehicle somewhat, and so they stop talking. He's thinking Tommy, he's thinking Uptown. He knows if it's Tommy, if it's Uptown, for him, this will be fatal.
Lionel claims at that point, Khadijah told him to save himself.
Get out of the car, Lionel! What?
She was frantic. She said, "You better go now."
Lionel says he made the split-second decision to bolt. Then, all he heard was gunfire.
During trial, Mr. Carter became very emotional. and indicated that when he returned, he saw Khadijah and could tell that she was dead.
When asked why he never contacted police if he was innocent, Lionel insists it's just part of the gangster code.
He's a man that has revenge in his heart. His goal at this time is getting a firearm, getting even with Uptown. And Tommy, at the time, Lionel was actually wanted for a few felony warrants. So if he had any contact with the police, he would be arrested on sight.
Lionel's story seems to have planted the seed of reasonable doubt, at least until prosecutors cross-examine him and immediately start poking holes in his testimony.
We know that the shooting happened within the vehicle. There was no bullet holes on the car frame, no bullet holes in the window. The casings that were found on the outside probably were in his lap. So when he stepped out of the vehicle and stood up, the casings fell onto the ground.
Based on the angle of the injuries, the locations of the shell casings, and blood spatter evidence, Khadijah was killed by somebody sitting next to her inside the car, and that person could only be Lionel Carter.
On October 8th, both sides rest their case, and the jury adjourns to deliberate. It takes just 45 minutes for them to return with a verdict.
The jury came back with the guilt phase and found Lionel guilty of second-degree murder.
The family was overwhelmed and thankful.
We got the verdict we wanted, and he's off the streets.
Khadijah's family is even more grateful when the judge hands Lionel a hefty 33-year sentence.
Sitting down with Lionel Carter, looking him eye to eye, face to face, he has no remorse and no sympathy for what he did. I think he's a cold-blooded, cowardly killer.
She's still my baby. I still talk to her. I can still hear her laugh if I listen hard enough. She just my angel, and that's who she is.
I want somebody to look at her story and just realize that the relationship they're in could end up like Khadijah.